Okay, good. Okay. All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Dr. Mac's January educational meeting. We're so glad that you could join us today. Our discussion will focus on older adults and youth with a special emphasis on senior mental health, social isolation, and why transportation is such a critical connector for both generations. We'll also explore how transit can create opportunities for youth and strengthen community connections overall. As always, we'll start with a brief reminder of Dr. Mac's mission and a few housekeeping items. Steph will get us started.
Yeah, thanks, Colleen. Welcome, everyone, especially those who are joining us for the first time. At DRMAC, we like to take a multi-level approach to inform and empower people to enhance the quality of life. Today's topic really reflects that mission and the interconnected nature of mobility, mental health, and opportunity. Sorry, this slide was out of order there. Please go ahead and type your name and organization in the chat if you haven't already. And we kindly ask that everyone stay muted unless you're speaking, but please feel free to use the chat as needed to ask questions or share comments throughout the meeting. And you can also use your virtual hand or raise your virtual hand using the reactions button. So now that we've covered all of that, we're going to go ahead and move on to some brief staff introductions from the Dr. Mac team, and Latoya will get us started with that.
Thanks, Steph. So I'm Latoya Paranti. I'm the development manager here for those who don't know me. And some of the updates I wanted to give, I'm super excited to announce that we will be having our third luncheon for the LCCs to come in together in person for an RCC meeting instead of hosting it in January like we've done the last 2 years. We're actually going to host it in March. So it'll be March 4th at Ford Warren Library. I'll be able to send all this information out to everybody once we get the flyer and everything done, but save the date basically March 4th from 11 to 1. And this is a really good space for everybody to come in and really see what's going on in all of the counties and their LCCs and potentially join one if that's something you're interested in. So I definitely encourage folks to come along and get involved in there. Be in the lookout for that. We'll also add that to some of our newsletters and social media platforms. So be aware of that. And then the other piece that I wanted to give an update on are the LCCs overall. For those that I do currently run and the staff basically help out with. We have revamped the schedule for that. So instead of every month, we went with a lot of the other LCCs, which are aligned with every other month. So our first initial meeting will be next month, February, and we're going to have some new directions towards that after kind of looking over all of last year's successes, strengths, and weaknesses and improvement areas. I think we have a really good idea of where we're going to move forward with that. So if you are not involved with an LCC, I definitely recommend being involved with one, taking full advantage of that because you can never know enough information, right? So you could find that more information on our website. Thanks, Steph.
Yeah, thanks, Latoya. I feel like my update's always about trainings, but that's all I really focus on these days. So we are headed into our 6th year of travel training, which is very exciting, and our I guess, 2nd year of technology training, and we've been able to compile a lot of the feedback we've gotten from the technology trainings to kind of modify and improve those trainings. We're booking trainings out already for the spring and the summer months, so if you are interested, please let us know. We have our 2 trainers, Linnea and KG, on staff who speak both English and Spanish, and we can also offer trainings in other languages as well. So definitely encourage you all to either get a travel training set up or a technology training set up. Again, with those travel trainings, we do that field trip, so we take folks down to Union Station so they can actually practice what they learned in the classroom session. But yeah, very exciting I think for us for another year of trainings, and I'm excited to see what comes of them. So yeah, thanks, Maria.
My name is Maria Griffin, and I am Dr. Mac's bilingual marketing and program coordinator, and I'm going to share a little bit of our programs, some of the programs that I oversee, including Transit to Table, which connects people to food access to transportation. I am so happy to see the continued growth on the applications for this program. Um, I feel like we are covering an area where there is a lot of need with this program. Our Also our information and assistance line, we help community members to connect them to different transportation referrals and options in the area of Denver Metro. And of course, the Getting There Guide, our online and mobile resource for finding transportation. If you have people that would like to for us to mail the Getting There Guide to them, please feel free to give them refer them to us. They can call us to the phone number 303-243-3113, or you can also send me an email and I'll be happy to send those out. Thank you, team, for all those updates. Today's conversation centers on how transportation impacts two groups that often experience isolation in different but overlapping ways: older adults and youth. For seniors, limited mobility can intensify loneliness, depression, and barriers to care. For youth, especially those without reliable transportation, mobility can be the difference between access and missed opportunity. Transportation is more than just getting from point A to point B. It is a lifeline to connection, independence, and well-being. Um, thank you. You're muted, Steph.
Of course I am. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, our first speaker today, we're excited to get started and learn a little bit from Marissa Volpe at AARP. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing so Marissa can get her slides up. Perfect.
Okay. Well, thank you both. Thank you all so much. I really appreciate this time. And I think I'm going to try to weave in some of the resources. And that's why I have the challenge grant up, which is really the way that you all can take the ball and run with AARP's investment in community, and that you all have been a challenge grantee, that you already won funds to do this work. Truly, AARP, a little bit about this organization. We are the largest nonprofit in the country serving the 50 plus, the largest nonpartisan organization that serves the 50 plus. Again, our state is a majority aging state. That means we have more people over 65 than we do younger than 18. And the whole country is going to go this way by 10 years. So we are already leading the charge in that. And we will be, really the work we're doing here will be a leadership for the rest of the country. AARP has many, many resources. It's sort of overwhelming, the amount of things that we are in this space to address: social connectivity, healthy living, financial resilience. You may think of us as the organization leading the charge in protecting Social Security, Medicaid, and Medicare. Those kinds of programs are going to be our bread and butter. But the program that is most directly tied, I think, to Dr. Mack's work is called Livable Communities. And that is really the work of making communities livable for people of all ages. And we know that this idea of accessibility, what we do, for someone who is older, is really going to benefit many ages. We know that from sidewalk cuts that help many types of folks, right? And so that's really this concept of livable communities: is how can we make our communities livable for all of us? 100% of us are aging, so we're all in it. And so what we're going to talk about today is, I actually brought in information on our challenge grant because I wanted to give you the resources to think about how you can apply for funds. You all are really well positioned to do the work. And weaving through this is, you'll see everything you've sort of mentioned: digital connections, mental health, actual transit focused work, There's emergency preparedness work. All these things are accessible for your organization to apply for, get grants for, and run with. So we want to keep going. What is this? And we're going to talk again a little bit about those livable communities. I will say when we did a state tour, the number one thing that the 50 plus want is to stay in their communities. You'll hear this term aging in place. And if that tends to mean I want to stay in the apartment, the home I'm in. And if I can't do that, I want to stay in my community. I want the familiarity of, the rec center I go to, the library I go to, the church or park. I want that familiarity. So what can we do as organizations to help folks thrive where they are? It's the number one thing they're asking for. And a lot of that is getting to the things that they need and what are some of the ideas we can help to support them in that. So I'm going to tell you also about this grant, which is an asset for you all, and answer any questions. So you can see by 2034, there'll be more people over 65 than under 18 in the US for the first time ever. And a lot of this work that we're taking on is from the World Health Organization. There is an international movement where AARP administers this for the United States. There are many aging, a lot of European countries have already been in this. So we're also taking a lot of the resources and the work that they have done that predates the work we've done here. And so this is going to be a grant program that's really designed to make communities more livable for people of all ages with tangible improvements and long-term change. Here are just some of the dollars that we've invested, and I'm really leaning into this because we're aiming to double this grant program, so there's going to be more money available and more money in this area of transportation and connecting folks because we see just how vital it is. Here are some of the spaces and places where we are showing up. And again, it's nonprofit and government entities that are the bulk of who we are funding and how we are making big impact with small dollars. I can just share that in 2024, you all, Denver Regional Mobility Access Council, won a grant to train older adults to navigate public spaces, help them run errands, help them get to doctor's appointments and attend social events. And that's really a direction that we're going to want to be in that space even more and even in a bigger way. Here are examples of all the kinds of impacts and improvements that we can fund. And to your point around, how that affects connection and mental health, you can just see this imbued in everything, whether that's creativity and murals, volunteering. We know a big part of as we age is to connect to purpose and to really be part of a community. A lot of those indicators for health and wellness are not only in the sort of what are we eating and exercising, but have we seen somebody this week? Have we talked to somebody? And are we engaging on something that's bigger than ourselves? So we love that these will bring people together very much to engage around improvements. I can give you an example on the eastern side of the state. A town was very divided politically, and it was their walk audit that worked to bridge the community and bring them together because it was a shared goal and very low cost a grant. It's about a $2,500 grant that you all can apply for. But it really went beyond those tangible improvements of the sidewalks and the audit. It went to help bridge the community and create community. And so that's really, again, something that's sort of in all of this kind of work. Those kinds of bridging activities we really like to see. So definitely the outcomes were the grants garnered additional funds from other public and private funders. So in the space of aging, we know that our areas of aging have really decreased in their ability to garner funds. Anyone who's working in older adults knows that that has been very much slashed. So funding for work in older adults coming through AARP and these kind of public and private funders, and knowing if you get a grant, this can help you go further. I can give you another example. In Larimer County, for instance, the Partnership for Age-Friendly Larimer County, they wanted to do a lot of the work you all are doing in terms of creating transit guides to help their older adults get to where they needed to go. So they asked for a challenge grant to create some trainings around reading maps, around understanding the routes, etc. And it became so popular that they had such good success with that micro grant. They went on to secure a grant from the Colorado Department of Transportation and the National Aging and Disability Center that helped to create an app around this. That app was so successful that it was voted to become permanently established into a ride no co application, which is a one call, one click transit hub. And so something that started as a small grant really mushroomed and really bloomed because it did exactly what you all had been talking about, connecting folks socially, medically, civically, in all these ways. So I just want to kind of reiterate the importance of that. And then this is just a kind of a quick action line so you know about these grants and when they're available. We'll have that application due by March 4th and etc. All those online. So we have different kinds of grants that would all be woven through kind of the areas that you've mentioned, different kind of categories for funding. That flagship grant is really where transportation is going to live. That is the grant you all won in 2024 to provide those guides and those trainings to older adults. And they usually live between $10,000 and $12,000 per grant. But there's other ones that you might be interested in just seeing and kind of thinking about as well. All Points Transit in Colorado won a grant as well the same year you did. And what they were thinking about was installing shelters on the western slope so that people could sit and rest. And you know the importance of something as simple as that in terms of helping people to get places. They also wanted to train additional Spanish-speaking drivers because they saw the increase in that need in that population, and developed several new routes. So they really use the money for connectivity in that way. So these are some of the most popular types of grants are going to be in this kind of space, and that's how it's going to connect with transportation. The smaller grants, which you all also won, was a walk audit. And again, I do think these create tremendous, they're really low cost, but high impact. Where you'll get webinars and cohort learnings on how to conduct the walk audits, but then also that bridging where folks you can bring together who may not have traditionally worked together in the past. And then these are the bigger grants, the biggest ones that we offer, and they want to think about replicating big promising local efforts. And I would say our partnership with Toyota around pedestrian safety would be one that I think you might be interested in. And they are thinking about replicable designs, typically housing design competitions, larger scale pedestrian safety efforts. For in this category, Denver Streets Partnership won a grant to really conduct a large-scale oral history project in the Cloverleaf neighborhood Sun Valley area around how that highway divided communities and created disparities. And that was, again, also a lot of bridging around oral histories around communities that had been displaced and the history of what had happened as a result of that highway. And what could be done to bridge and to connect people back. So they held reunion dinners where folks who had been displaced were able to come back together and to share their stories of living in the Sun Valley community. So that's the one that kind of is top of mind for our state. And again, you all are right in this bucket, a nonprofit, government agencies and others considered, and the types, of projects, which is the work you do, those kinds of trainings, those guides, creating a hub, all of that would be really right kind of in the wheelhouse of the work that we'd be looking for. And then our scoring, just so everyone's transparent on how we score around impact, the needs, how this lines up with the 50 plus, and really making that argument of it serving the 50 plus and showing those barriers and how to overcome them, how to execute, and the innovation, the creativity, and the approaches and the design. So those are the things that we'll be looking for. And then just, yeah, lastly, this application deadline and when that happens. So I hope this kind of fits with I hope it was able to weave in some of the themes and how this can fit with that. But I'd love to just hear some questions or what's percolating, what's coming up.
Yeah, thanks, Marissa. Let me
Sure.
see if there's anything in the chat. And if anyone has a question, you can feel free to just unmute as well.
Hi, I have a question. My name's Alan Curry. I'm with Sunshine Rides. Um, so I'm not, this is my first call with Dr. Mack, and Sunshine Rides started in Grand Junction on the western slope, but over the last year we've expanded into the Front Range, and we have offices along the Front Range through Denver down to Pueblo and Colorado Springs. So I'm just saying, we provide non-emergency medical transportation across the state, and I've never worked with you guys before, so I would just like to get some advice on what ways that we can contribute or be a part of this in any way. I think a lot of the places on the Front Range are just getting to know us now, but over the last year we opened up 7 offices there. So I just figured I would ask.
And I'm going to defer to Dr. Mack, but I can definitely, Alan, share with you how your organization can apply for a grant, because it would be definitely in the wheelhouse of the types of programs we fund.
Okay, great.
Okay, sorry, Ellen. Can you just give the question one more time, please?
Well, this is a very general question. I'm with Sunshine Rides. We provide non-emergency medical transportation. We have over 200, about 200 cars right now. We're expanding very rapidly, and we're a transportation resource that's available. And I want to know what's the best way that I can engage and work. And I mean, we have cars and we have drivers. They're all full-time employees. We're not an Uber or a Lyft or anything like that. It's a little different model. So I'm just wondering how I can work with Dr. Mack.
Oh, we're excited to hear that. Have you seen a copy of our Getting There guide? We'd love to include you. We just finished our last revision, but Steph and Maria, do you know? Are you
Yes,
already in our Getting There
I
guide?
yeah, I just kind of wanted to let you know, Alan, that we are actual partners already. Yeah, Sunshine Rights is added to our Getting There guide.
Okay.
How to further this collaboration, I will definitely say to just continue the communication. We do these transportation updates every so often. So just continue that type of communication. Also, what you are doing right now, just being part
I
of
was
our
going to
meeting.
say that just being part of these meetings and our
Yeah.
information and assistance line, you're also shared as a referral. If you're in the
Mm-hmm.
guide, if someone calls for a transportation referral, you're in the database. You're also included in our paratransit app. So I,
Okay.
but we're happy to chat. If there's more ways that you think we can collaborate, because Dr. Mack is always
Yeah.
open to collaboration. I think we all operate with just a little bit, and when we work together, our reach
Yeah. I'm
goes
I'm
further.
learning, I've been doing this for 2 years now, but on the western slope, and we've expanded into the Front Range. And we're a compassionate uh company, and we see that there's a huge gap in the demand and we can't get enough cars because the more cars we get, they're all, fully
Huge
utilized.
demand.
So
I
we're
know.
continuing to try to get cars on the streets with qualified drivers and trained
I
drivers.
definitely believe that Sunshine Ride is definitely one of the resources that I refer the most because it works with Medicaid, and
Yeah.
that is a lot that people is looking for, especially right now. Transportation is not cheap, so
No.
to get from point A to point B is definitely a high priority for people going to cancer appointments, to dialysis. So
Yep,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
we do.
Alan,
So
You've
can
thanks for that
expanded your,
info.
I'm sorry. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry.
I was just going to say thanks for the info, and I'm glad to be part of this. I'd like to see, progress being made here and what those grants are going to.
you?
Sunshine Rides also has a nonprofit Sunshine Community where we're
Okay.
doing things like that, helping people get from the unhoused back on their feet, some job training and some help. So anyway, it's all good stuff, and I appreciate it, what everybody's doing, really.
I will
Thank you. I would just say
definitely.
real quickly, if you've expanded your services, I would connect you with Maria because we
Yeah,
need to have that info so we can let folks know that you've
I'll
expanded your
definitely reach
service
out to
area.
you, Alan, especially to find out a little bit more about those programs. Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks.
Thank you.
Ellen, would you be open to sharing what are the needs you see, the expanding needs? I'm really curious. I know when we worked with All Points Transit, they mentioned just more of the bilingual need, more routes, and the bus shelters, because that high desert can be pretty intense.
Yeah, we've lately I've been focusing and putting bids in for transit services, doing paratransit or I'm sorry, microtransit to kind of complement the existing transit services. We also see a huge need in dialysis. I mean, we're already doing that now, and I know a lot of people have lost their Medicaid coverage, so
Mhm.
we're seeing problems some there. Um, and just in the rural areas, people can't get to their appointments, and so I mean, we're drive people like 2 to 3 hours 3 times a week just to get to their dialysis appointment and back, which is an enormous um, you know, I can't imagine doing that 3 times a week forever, 3 or 4 times a week, really. So I've seen that, and I'm looking at, well, we're working with the assisted living facilities, so we were thinking of developing a program kind of like Go Grandparent because they're not having a good experience with Uber or Lyft, that they want to be able to. I don't know if you know Go Grandparent, but we're developing something like that to help the seniors get to their non-medical transportation, like pharmacy, doctor's appointments, and or groceries and things like that. Um, the rural areas is where we're trying to reach too. We're really trying to get out there and get the people to the services they need.
What have you seen with the micro transit approach? How sustainable are you seeing, or the communication about it? How do people learn about it?
I'm not really sure. What I did was we put in a couple of proposals through the RTD,
Hmm.
um, who were put, I think it was for the city of Aurora, and there was another microtransit one. And it just seems like they don't have enough resources to
Hmm.
meet the demand is there. People are using it. The other thing that I've seen, well, I think that's really, that's basically the assessment I can make right now, I think.
Thank you.
All
Well,
right.
I dropped the AARP Challenge Grant link in the chat. So you have everything you need there, and definitely transit is a big priority. So I
Thank
encourage
you.
everyone to think about that.
I got it.
Really quickly before we move on, Ellen, which county do you serve? Which counties?
We serve all the counties in Colorado. We're based
Okay.
in Mesa County, and we have
Okay.
a much stronger presence on the western slope, all the way from, I guess it's Routt County, all the way. We're in Durango and Cortez, and we're opening an office in Alamosa. But we're, Fort Collins, Denver, Pueblo, Colorado Springs, Montrose, Grand Junction, Durango, and Cortez. And we're opening up another one in Alamosa now.
I won't take a lot of time here, but I'd love to connect with you offline. We just received funding for some of those areas to kind of create some programs, and maybe you and I can brainstorm and kind of chat. Do you mind putting your email address in here and I'll connect with you a little bit
Sure,
later?
absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank
To
you.
add a little bit to the conversation, it's just very unfortunate to see all of these funding that is cut for people that really needs this transportation. And it really does breaks my heart because they're not even able to cover the needs that leaves little to no space for the want. Like Tracy just shared, going to watch a movie, getting your nails done, getting a haircut, and those type of purposes. So they are necessities too as well, but they are definitely overseen too.
Yeah, and the one that I just was on a call the other day with Catholic Health Share Catholic there's a Catholic Housing Services. There's got like 6 locations, and they have some cars there, but they're not. They're like free offerings, and they said that people aren't getting. They're not showing up on time. They don't have what they need, but they don't have any money. They don't have any money, and you know we're not a nonprofit. You know we're a regular for-profit company, but they don't have any money to pay, and they have a lot of people that need to get to their doctor's appointments and to get the groceries, and you know, and they're having real problems. So we're trying to work with them. I was trying to raise money um, through a grant, and you know, we're a for-profit, so it was only available for nonprofits. So I'm still trying to figure out how to navigate this, but I was trying to raise money so that they could get the car and we could operate it. Just trying to look at different ways to get people to where they need to get to.
Any other questions for Marissa? All right. Well, thank you, Marissa. Yeah, I think that any way that transportation can be improved in terms of just accessibility and everything is helping to reduce the amount of isolation and increase opportunity. So definitely definitely ties into the theme. So all right, well, we'll go ahead and move on. So the topic, I kind of just talked about it, but the topic of the meeting today is really focusing on connecting older adults and youth through transportation. And we kind of wanted, here at DRMAC, we kind of wanted to just share some of our experiences with youth transportation and access in that regard. And one conversation I had recently with someone it was a teacher out in Aurora. One of their students is wanting to is able to work, but they don't have means to get to a job. They don't have any funds to support transportation services, and they live outside of the RTD district. So we were kind of brainstorming different ways of how to help them out there. But I just kind of wanted to share that to just highlight that's not an individual experience. That's a pretty common theme across the country, but there's just not many options. It's not that youth doesn't want to go out and attend social events and work and everything. It's just the opportunity is not there. So I think really focusing on what is available, leveraging partnerships and creating partnerships and everything that is super important these days. So I'm just curious, and I think the team is curious about programming specifically for youth in your community, if you have any that you know of, particularly any that relate to transportation. And then if you're finding any barriers for youth transportation in your community, I know that like us in particular, most of I think the resources we have are geared towards adults and older adults. So we're really focusing on expanding our youth resources, and that may just be that we haven't found the youth transportation resources yet, or they're just, there aren't many available. So I'm curious if anyone has any thoughts, if they know of any really cool youth programs in their community that are maybe helping out with transportation, or maybe just other things in general. But if anyone wants to share, you can either unmute or put something in the chat.
Hi, Melanie Ward with the City of Centennial. It's not really transportation related, but we, in partnership with the YMCA, operate the Center of Generations. It's at kind of University in Arapahoe at the streets at South Glen, and it's sort of a joint senior and youth center. So they have a lot of separate programming and then some joint programming. So that's definitely a destination that we're interested in serving. It is on an RTD route, two RTD routes. They come every 30 minutes, so you can get there sometimes. But I definitely would agree. I think a lot of the services that we see in our area are much more focused on the adult population.
Yeah, that's really cool. I didn't know that that existed, so thank you for sharing. Um, yeah, anyone else have any, I don't know of any cool youth programs, or I guess both like programs that bring both generations together? All right. Well, I'm sure we'll be in touch, and I think this is going to be a theme for us throughout the year, expanding just resources for youth. So this probably won't be the last time you'll hear us asking for for anything you know of. So thank you for sharing that, Melanie. Okay, well, we will go ahead and move on. We were going to have a couple of our members just share some quick updates, but I don't think either of them were unfortunately able to make it today. So we will just jump right into an update from our TV that Colleen will share. Oh, and then sorry, before we jump into that, this is just a flyer with all of our DRMAC programming on it. While DRMAC doesn't exclusively provide programs for youth, we do include them in a lot of our programming. So our travel training, we've done a lot of trainings for schools and students in general. We have our technology training that's available to anyone, all ages. I mean, all of our programming and resources are available to anyone of all ages. Our transit to table, helping families with kiddos get to food banks and access those kinds of resources, our information assistance line. There's really a whole lot that we do to kind of create opportunities for anyone, regardless of age, location, anything like that. So just a quick plug there. Um, and then we have our membership that Colleen is going to talk about.
I don't see that on the member spotlight. Let me, while I find this, let me go back because Melanie, I think you're part of TSAC, right? Do you do you
I
participate in
do.
TSAC?
I am, yeah.
Do you guys have anything that you want to share? I'm trying to find where I am. Maybe in
I'd not
Andrea's
check with
page.
Andrea if we had a written update for the group. I know last year we did a really awesome travel training with Dr. Mac, and so we worked with assisted living facilities and folks to try to get kind of a virtual meeting set up so that people from multiple different assisted living facilities could call in to that travel training. So I would encourage folks on the call to work with Dr. Mac. They are awesome with those travel trainings. I know people really appreciated getting that. Um, let's see, I think TSAC's major activities for this year Andrea received a little bit of grant funding or she's got a partnership going with some rec centers, and we're working on connecting people who are not able to make it to those rec centers to some of those more social programs. So I think she has rec centers and ride providers lined up. And so now either we're still looking for funding or she just was granted funding at the end of last year, I think I heard. So sorry
Yeah,
that
we were.
that's a little roundabout, but I think that's a good update for TSAC.
No, that's helpful. Thank you. And there, I know we were curious about the new service that she has gotten funding for, hopefully gotten funding for. So that's helpful. Thank you. Well, I we want to take a moment to thank our Dr. Mac members for their continued support and collaboration. If you're not yet a member, we invite you to visit our website to learn more about the benefits and get involved. And here you can see on the flyer that we have 3 tiers. Individuals, just $25 a year, organizational, $100 a year, and business, $500 a year. I won't read through all of the benefits, but I can send you a copy of this flyer if you need more info. And then I'm going to talk about RTD's Tap and Ride. So, RTD is introducing a tap and ride, a new convenient way to pay for your bus or train fares on RTD. Simply tap your contactless credit or debit card or your mobile wallet, Apple Pay, Google Pay, or Samsung Pay directly on the validator when you board. I'm so excited about that new service. And then we're getting to this pretty quickly. So I hope you guys have some stuff to share. We have some remaining time and we'd like to open the floor for community updates. Please feel free to share upcoming events, programs, or announcements. You may unmute, raise your hand, or just type it in the chat. You have anything exciting going on? No? Well, it's the first of the year. Probably hadn't figured it all out yet. Okay, well, I'm going to pick on you, Tracy. Is your community accepting applications, or how would someone get in if they needed a housing resource?
Well, actually, they just would have to come and apply. We do have a waiting list, but the list is actually pretty short, from my understanding, from what the property manager has shared with me. Like I said, you just have to be 62 and up. That is it. And be able to
And
pass a background check, you know. And it's a
and it's volunteer, they're
30%.
just the Volunteers of America website where people would go.
Well, no, they would have to go to each individual property. It depends on which property they want. Because, like, my property is 62 and over. Then we also have one that's for families. We have some for drug and alcohol. So you would have to go to the actual property
Okay,
that you're wanting to live in. We have them on Lowry, just all over the place. So I would just Google Volunteers of America properties and it'll pop up.
thank you. I asked because I know Maria can attest to this. A lot of times we get transportation calls and then they transition into housing or something else. So I don't know if everyone else that was their experience. So thank you for sharing that.
You are welcome. And this is kind of off subject, but Colleen, because I don't know if Alan is on or not, because I'm gonna need his phone number.
Oh,
If you
okay.
could give that to me, because I just text one of our
He's
properties
still
in the,
there.
I'm
okay, if
here.
you can
I'm
give
here.
me your number, because I asked them, have they heard of you? And they was like, no. And I said, oh, they're this and they're that, and they take Medicaid. You do
See,
take Medicaid, correct?
We do, but we are not in the broker area yet,
Okay,
right?
let me
There's
see.
IntelliRide runs the broker area for Medicaid rides. So
Okay,
we
okay.
so
So,
we can accept Medicaid rides in the broker area if it's an emergency, like if it's within 24 hours.
okay.
I was talking to a place up in Estes Park. They're a rehab or recovery center, and they, were having to go through IntelliRide. But when they
hmm
needed somebody to get into the rehab, they needed them then. They didn't need them in 24 or 48 hours. So they're
Well,
using.
See, I'm sorry, Colleen, I'm taking up all your.
No. This is what we love to do, right? These
Thank you. So
connections.
with that,
It's
yes,
okay.
with that being said, I actually, because I was talking to Colleen about this probably a month or so ago. I know someone who just opened a sober living facility, and transportation was one of the issues on how to get them there, which I know, but they're Medicaid as well. And it's
Right.
all different ages. So is it okay if I give you the number, even if if you can do it, or if you cannot, you can probably help out in that?
Yes, please do.
Okay.
And I'll put my number in the chat here.
Thank you. So I might be handing your number out to a lot of people
Okay, you got it.
because we have quite a few Volunteers of America. We have quite a few different apartments or different things like that in the Western Slope. So I
Nice.
think that would be beneficial for them because that's why I was asking one of our properties and she was like, no. So I'm gonna give her your information as well.
Please do, because we're based in Grand Junction. We've been around for 35 years
Okay.
in Grand Junction, and we have a very strong presence all along the western slope from Grand Junction down to Durango, Cortez, all along that corridor. We're all over the place.
Okay.
And we're
Sounds
gonna be that way
good.
on the Front Range, but trying to get my number in here.
That's all right. Take your time. I don't know how much time y'all got while I'm
No, they're ahead of schedule, but no, this is what we love to do. This, I know the rest of the team can agree. We love when these connections are made. So,
Yes.
yeah, love it.
Okay.
All right. Well, if there are no more updates, I guess that brings us to the end of today's meeting. We'll give you all back the gift of some time. Thank you all for joining us and being part of this important conversation. We appreciate your time and engagement and look forward to seeing you at our next Dr. Mac meeting on February 3rd from 1:33 p.m. Have a wonderful afternoon.
Wait, don't hang up yet because he's putting his phone number
Oh,
in.